Global growth is forecast to slow from 3.2% in 2022 to 2.7% in 2023, and that's according to the International Monetary Fund. High inflation and stagnant wages, coupled with unprecedented quantitative tightening, are helping to drive the risk of a global recession. Against this backdrop, there is a severe lack of affordable housing around the world. Land shortages, along with the spiraling costs of lending, labor, and materials, have hurt supply, which, combined with heightened demand, have led to the cost of housing growing faster than incomes. According to UN Habitat, by 2030, the world needs to build 96,000 new affordable homes every day to house the estimated 3 billion people who will need access to adequate housing. Kolade Adepoju is MD and CEO of Real Homes, a real estate company that specializes in solving the housing problem in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. And he joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, let's get straight into it. We see the rate of real estate development locally, and it's impressive, but then you look at, the cost of living and what the economy is going through, and it doesn't seem to correlate. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what's happening in the industry, and do people really have the money to build these homes and buy these homes?
Okay, the industry is not doing bad, but when it comes to the people, the affordability of the people and what the developers are doing, not everyone can afford what the kind of real estate we have, especially in this Lagos. So let me give you an example. The developers are having issue when it comes to the hike in price of things, materials and all. And this is business. If you are building, let's say when the cement was 1,005, now cement is like 4,005. You put all those iron was like 100 and something before. Now iron is going to like 400 and something per ton. So all these things are the thing that is going to really affect it. And now, in an advanced country, there's some funding that can help, the developers so that they will not in a sort of subsidy, but that is not available. So, but at the same time, some people are trying to still make sure that the housing is still affordable as much as they can make it affordable. Then the people too, talking about the people too, you won't say you want an affordable house and you come to VI, you come to Ikoyi, there's a pet there, there's other places, there's upcoming areas. So I think to say to that, the people, depends on where you are looking at. We know how the situation of the country is right now. The inflation is eating to everywhere. Last time I checked, it was 21%, and it's going up. What it was last month is not what it's going to be this month. It's just going up every day. So it's eating and in this kind of situation, people first of all think about what you eat. They first of all think about the basic need, which we know that shelter is part of the basic need. But before they can go for what's the conducive one for them, they rather go for housing and go for maybe something that can just take care of them and harbor them for the meantime.
When you talk about harboring them for the meantime and still talking about breaching the housing deficit, why should we find ourselves in a scenario where the individual has to be responsible mainly for building his house, purchasing the land? We're talking about inflation here, and a gambit of all manner of challenges, as it were. And then sometimes you have a scenario whereby the government comes up with housing estates and all that, but is it actually striking or making any impact on a population of millions? And you find that just probably beneficiary probably 200, 300. So are we actually bridging the gap when it comes to housing deficit?
When it comes
from
to the
public,
government, from the public, the government is not doing what they should do. I would say that if you even look at the larger number of people providing shelter or real estate for people in this country is majorly from the private sector. So what we can do is this. You see, look at what you read earlier, as that by 2030, we have to provide 96,000 housing every day. That will amount to millions per annum. And you see, we are not taking this thing as seriously as we should. Because you see, I always say, someone that doesn't have a good place to stay, to live in, is prone to a lot of things. And if you want to even talk about whether security, whether growth, whether economy, it still boils down to this. You see, we all know, thank God we are all learned people here. You know how it is when you want to engage your mind, you need a very serene and a very good place. Most of people can't get this. And this is where the government comes in. There's always, every year, there's always a budget for housing. But for me, I don't know where it's going to. Because you can't say as a state, you are providing, you will just hear figures. You don't see you don't see it. And even when the housing is being, they build 200, 500, a normal person that doesn't have anybody in government, cannot access that. They will still share it up. So I think for me, I believe that governments still have a long way to go when it comes to this. They need to take this thing as seriously as look at this. Look at this, all this banditry, and we are looking at these people live inside the the forest and all. If most of these people don't even want to do this, but they don't have somewhere to stay, they hang around with someone take care. Before you know it, you just want to survive. It gets to a point as a human being, you just move to survival mode. And anyhow you need to survive, you survive. So I would say government needs to do more. And they need to be deliberate. This is not even about doing more. It has to be a deliberate action to make sure that this gap, because this gap is widening every day. And if nothing is done now, it's going to be a very, very serious issue in not so far, probably a year or two.
Now, what about on our part as consumers? Do you think that there's been maybe a shift in mindset? So you look at the baby boomers who, just looking around the room, potentially are our parents' age, I would say, who were committed to making that investment. They needed to buy land. They needed to build, or they were committed to having something they can call their own. And, go down to millennials, look at Gen Zs. It's no longer such a priority. So is there contribution that we're making on our side as consumers to say, you know what, this accommodation thing is no longer as important as maybe it would have been to previous generations? What are the trends?
Okay. So for me, I would think we need to change our mindset when it comes to accommodation. So in this part of this world, everybody wants to have a plot of land and build a house and live in. It doesn't happen like that in advanced countries. Even in Nigeria, as we speak, we are not even maximizing our land. We think we have enough land. It will get to a time where we will be choked. Why do you need to buy a 2 plot of land and build maybe 5-bedroom duplex on it when you can do and probably an high-rise building that can accommodate more people? You understand? Even as a person, if you are a young person and you have the resources to do this thing, why not just invest that? Okay, let me just do maybe block of flats or something, a premium block of flats. Let me do it, let people be able to, and I can take one for myself and earn from the other ones. You understand? So I think we need to change our mindset. You don't need to have all this idea of mansion, all these things. At least there will be a time whereby you can do that, but at least when you are starting life, you need to understand that a 2-bedroom flat in a very good environment is best than you saying that I now want to go and buy land, because I must tell you, there are a lot of things that comes with that.
Yes, if I may come in, Kolade, yes, we're also seeing a lot of your colleagues investing in, block of flats, but when you come to, when you take a realistic look at the type of buildings, it's far out of the reach of most people out there. Okay. And then it brings up the issue, I've asked colleagues of yours as well every now and then, the issue of our mortgage institutions. The last guy that was here said it's virtually non-existent. So if we're talking about subsidies in other countries to help at least people get affordable housing, and like you said, the gap is ever widening, and we're not seeing proactive.
So when you talk about mortgage, so someone called
in other countries, it's still viable.
But we find ourselves in this country. We hope that one day we'll get it right. Mortgage is not something that should be a luxury. We can't say it's not existing. It is, but it's still for some set of people. An average person cannot go to a mortgage. Do you even know where the mortgage institutions are? That's the first thing.
Good question.
You understand? You don't even know. Some people don't even know that there's something like mortgage. These are the things that should be the way healthcare is everywhere. That's the way mortgage should be for everybody. If you go to UK today, so when I see people go to UK and maybe all this, I just got my car. I don't see it as something really, because over there with just $500, $1,000 you can pay, and if you want to go into mortgage, there's payment plan for everything. Even mortgage, you just pay maybe like 15%, and you move in, you can pay for as long. And
but if I may come in again, I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
How can we replicate that in the private setting regarding real estate as well?
Now we can, but this is capital intensive. What mortgage does is that there has to be money somewhere. So for example, now let's say Rare Homes. Now we want to do that kind of system. We need to have some billions whereby when people come, because the thing is, the house you move to, it will be built. The amenities that will be there, money will be used for it. So if you are saying that you want to do that in private, it's going to be a fantastic idea if the resources is there. But now, as a developer, as a real estate player, you have other things that you have to do. You understand? It will come to a time. It will come to a time as a business person, you tell yourself that, man, let me just go for what works. You may have a burden in your heart, but before you get to that, before you can provide a solution to that burden, you must first survive as an organization. So it is possible to replicate that system in private sector if the government will permit that. It is possible, but it's definitely going to be a capital intensive, which is something that we as an organization, we are even looking at. How can we even look into something like that? We may not be able to do more, maybe to start with maybe 100 apartments, maybe 200, but it's something we are looking at, and it's something that is part of our plan for 2023 as an organization. So it's something that we can replicate it, but it is capital intensive. And do we have many people that want to take the risk? Now, let me say another thing. Another thing is that we have, in this kind of country, we have people whereby you may even do this mortgage and you get your fingers burnt. They won't want to pay back. Okay. You understand? So you've invested, maybe you probably have a 10 billion and you invested, okay, let me invest in these people. We can recoup this thing back maybe in the next 10 years. And in that 10 years, everything went to bad loans. You understand? So that is it's difficult at times, because you look at it as a business person, and in fact, I always say I celebrate any business person in this country. Man, I celebrate you because it takes a lot. So when inside that it takes a lot, you now want to now provide a solution. You are providing a solution that you don't know how it can go, and real estate is capital intensive. You don't want to joke with billions and let it go like that. Nobody wants to lose money. One of the first rules of wealth is that never lose money. So if you don't want to lose money, you have to play it in a way, as much as you have passion for it, you have to play it in a way that is safe.
Talking about never losing money, we all know that the Naira is depreciating or has been depreciating over the past few years. What does that look like for your business, for your industry, for the quality of buildings? We're seeing buildings, unfortunately collapsing on a regular basis now, and they're supposed to be brand new developments. So it seems, there's some corners that are now being cut in order to still be profitable. Is real estate still profitable, and is it safe in the face of, a currency that is fighting against you?
Real estate forever and ever will be profitable. There will never be a time whereby real estate will not be profitable. The only thing that can happen is greed. So you see many people, you see building collapsing, you see this doing that. Two things that are affecting that: greed, and the institutions that are supposed to monitor the process are not doing their job. So real estate, Naira devaluing. Okay, so let me give you an example. So an apartment you get for 1 million before is going for like 2 million now. As we are saying, everything is increasing. As the inflation is rising, the cost of house rent is increasing. If you are not the one that, probably God has blessed you with your apartment, you will notice that your service charge has increased. So it's definitely going to be profitable. And in the case of Naira devaluing, it's something that if any money you keep in your account right now is not safe.
If I may come in there, Kolade, majority of the materials that is used in building all these estates or housing or what have you are locally sourced.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be a plus to all these issues of inflation?
Yeah, it should. You see, this country is so peculiar and amazing. You know why?
Whether it's cement, whether it's the
Yeah,
building ones,
it's so
what have you.
amazing because
So what's-
people just capitalize on what is not.
I mentioned that because you talked about greed.
Yeah, people just capitalize on what is not. We just like to feed on our inconveniences. I don't know how we get to this level as a country. You see, most of what this thing they are saying is increasing, is increasing. If we check the cost, the differences may not be more than, for example, let's say a product that they sell for 1,000, now the guy said dollar has increased and everything is selling for 3,000. You may see, if we checked it, what has increased in the cost of production may not be more than 100 naira or 200 naira. So what markup are you putting on that? You understand? So it's, I still say, greed is one of the problems of this nation, and it flows to every institution. But in real estate, which I can speak of, is if you are, for example, now there's a project we are embarking on soon in this region, in this area. I don't want to mention, So we're talking with a grade A contractor that we want to use. And another thing is that, you see, the value of the company that is doing this project too matters. So for us, we realized, we saw this thing that properties are collapsing, these are happening. We have to go for a grade A contractors. What would that do for us? It's going to give us a good product, but we are going to spend almost double of what we're going to spend. And now, in the long run, what we now do is that we'll now to say, okay, do we choose between doing a substandard product and get more money, or doing a good product that will keep speaking for us, that in the next 40 years, 50 years, we'll still be there, and we'll make little, or we may not make much now, but eventually we'll make more. So many people are not optimistic. Many people are not futuristic in their thinking. They are just thinking of now. What can I get now? And if you are building, a builder don't think of now. If a builder is thinking of now, he will not work on the foundation as you ought to do. If you are thinking of the future, the durability of what you are building, you will make sure you pay attention, full attention to whatever you are building. So I believe that when it comes to include this locally sourced, okay, so the head of the team was telling us that even to the glass, we don't need to buy outside the country. So there are a lot of things. Even me, I didn't know that there's that quality of glass. It showed me one in their company. They are doing something in Ikoya. It showed me. I was amazed. This was done in Nigeria to tiles so it is just. And another thing is there is no regulatory body.
I was about to ask.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
So there is no regulatory body in a sane country. You don't just wake up and say you want to increase your price. It's not that. It's not. You will not wake up. There will be meetings among the stakeholders to say that, okay, these are, and there will be research. That's why somebody that is just adding just 100 naira to his cost of production is increasing it to like 3,000 from 1,000 thereabout, and he's saying no, dollar has increased, and because nobody can see into it. A lot of people are exploiting us in this country because they can't see into people. There's no regulatory body. There's a particular amount this thing must get to. It can't move more than this. If we have all those things in place, I think even they will help our greed. Let me use that word.
Definitely, we'll take the conversation further another time. Kolade Adepoju, CEO, Real Homes. It's good to have you with us on
Thank you
Newsday.
so much.
Thank you
so much.